T-Bone and Heather on Star 98.3 and 97.7 The Bay.
Well, hello, my friends.
Good morning.
Oh, listen, it is a treat and it is fun every single time because look who's here.
Here's Johnny.
Sweet.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How is everyone?
Good. How was the kids'
Awesome.
first day at school?
Oh, yeah, right.
It was great until my daughter reminded me, well, Dad, this is my last first day of elementary school.
Oh, good
And then
Lord.
that sent
and
me down the rabbit
cat's
hole.
in the cradle in the
Right.
She's going to middle school next year?
She's in 5th grade this year.
Oh,
Doesn't
my gosh.
seem-
Goes fast, right?
It
possible.
does.
It
Too fast.
Says the two people who have a kid that's
I know.
in their almost in their 20s, right? We're in
Right.
their 20s.
Yeah.
Last night he comes home, he's got brochures for apartments.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a heartbreaker.
Yeah.
Well, I
So-
started going down there because my kid, they're 2 years apart, but because of, one's born in late August, one's born in early September.
Are they looking for apartments?
No, not yet, thank God. According to them, they're going to live with us forever and they're never going anywhere.
Sure, of course.
So that's going to stay the same, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But, for whatever reason, I'm like, they're never going to ride the school bus together again after this year. And
Yeah.
so I went down a rabbit hole and,
I know.
no.
I
it was
know.
fun. You know those things that we do as parents.
Of
Yeah.
course. Well, maybe we need to lighten the mood. Is there anything coming
Yeah,
out?
well,
maybe that.
It would be a good weekend for a comedy, wouldn't it? But
Yeah.
no. The Crow, it's The Crow and Blink Twice are the two big movies. So, The Crow, the remake, obviously of the infamous and hugely popular cult classic from 1993 that killed Brandon Lee.
Did you like it?
I did not as much as I was really hoping this was going to be one of those movies that everybody hated, and I was like, this movie was awesome. You guys don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But there's a thing with movies, especially like this, but there's a lightning in a bottle concept to how much of the story you tell. Like, and I'm not spoiling anything here. This Crow's about a guy who he and his girlfriend, fiance get murdered, and then a crow comes and brings his soul back to the land of living so he can get revenge.
Right.
Done. But how much of that backstory do you tell? How much do you explain about what happened? How much do you keep that in the story going through? You don't realize how important the balance is there, and that's where this movie kind of falls apart.
Oh, okay.
In the original Crow, I always thought people hold that a little too I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I grew up listening to the soundtrack, watching the movie every weekend, but I still think people are a little too precious about it. But and that's why people were going to hate on this one. But the truth is that they did what a lot of Hollywood movie remakes and reboots do, is they try to explain more of the backstory. And they, in the original, the girlfriend was in it for maybe minute and a half of screen time total.
Yeah.
Do you think they do that because the audience coming in, they assume the audience doesn't know the backstory, and so they got to lay all this groundwork so you know what's going on? Or
partially, I think it's that, and I think it's also a director has a real need to put his stamp
look
on
at me
something.
direct.
Right.
Where are you you would assume the most dramatic impact comes from the source story, you know what I mean? But it never works. You always end up telling too much. The movie starts out really slow. I will say Skarsgård, I always forget which Skarsgård he is.
Yeah.
Peter?
No. We
Paul
did this
and
last
Mary?
time. We
Peter,
talked about
Paul,
this.
Mary.
I want to say Jason. He's the one that plays Pennywise in it.
Yeah, the creepy one.
Yeah, he's great. He is great. And honestly, about halfway through the movie I wanted started. And the
okay.
action was just
But you gotta-
ridiculous. Hyper gory in that John Wick kind of way. And
But you got to sit through half a movie before you get to it.
yeah, and it really turns into Undead John Wick at one point. But
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yikes.
All right.
then you have Blink Twice, starring Channing Tatum. The big thing with this is it's Zoe Kravitz, daughter of Lenny Kravitz, obviously.
They're dating.
They're dating, and this is her directorial debut. So she directed this movie.
So what's the? Well, I know nothing about this one.
So Channing Tatum plays like a tech mogul, which it always. I mean, he's a smart guy, obviously, but he looks like a meathead. So
Yeah.
they're like, "Hey, let's make you a Jeff
Marky Mark
Bezos, a
saying,
Mark Zuckerberg, if you
Yeah.
will."
I'm an inventor.
Yeah,
Right.
he
Right.
meets this cocktail waitress at a function and invites her to his island for the weekend. Do you remember Green Onion?
Okay.
Or
Sure.
Glass Onion,
okay.
rather?
Glass
Right.
onion,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
It's kind of that concept, but not. He invites him to a private island with his friends. Everything's going great, and then things start to seem a little weird.
Oh.
And yeah, I mean, basically, this movie it's like a less or middle of the road Black Mirror episode. Were you guys Black Mirror fans?
I did. Here's what the thing with Black Mirror. I liked every episode I watched, but for some reason, I just didn't keep coming back to it, and I don't know why that is.
I did the same thing. Like a new, as much as I liked my experience watching those episodes, you would think that when the new seasons came out, I'd be like, oh yeah. But I'm kind of like, oh cool, I'll check that out when I get to it.
That's
that
exactly how it was.
Right.
But this is essentially a mid-level Black Mirror episode.
Okay.
So
Mid-level.
yeah. But Black Mirror is a really good show.
Things are going to go weird if the premise is private island.
Yeah,
if you want a private island, there's something. There's
and rich guy.
And rich guy.
And if you're still going to that after Epstein, it's definitely going to be. You can't make that not weird movie.
If you're Tom Hanks' private island, that's different.
Yeah,
if you're just I'm rich and I want my place where I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Then something's going to go off the rails.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the big issue I had with this was the chemistry between Channing Tatum and the lead actress. And I don't.
It's not Zoe.
No, she's directing, but she's got somebody else starring.
Oh.
That the chemistry wasn't really there. They didn't seem right.
Is that because his girlfriend was watching everything?
Probably,
yeah.
Yeah. And it was kind of slow to start. It was kind of overly unbelievable. Channing Tatum's great. I always loved that guy and everything. And after Deadpool and Wolverine, his performance as Gambit, I want to see that movie tomorrow.
Right.
Didn't Gambit throw cards? Wasn't that his superpower?
Not throw it. It's not. You're insulting.
Isn't that what Gambit
doesn't just throw cards
over that window?
I know.
Isn't he a card thrower?
He charges things,
charges items, anything he touches with
and then they
energy.
Explode.
And the best part is he's Cajun, so he talks like this the whole time.
Yeah, man.
I think you guys are a bunch of geeks.
Whatever. You don't get it.
I wear that badge proudly.
You don't get it.
He also has
He's a
bow
card
staff
thrower.
that's full of energy, too.
A bow staff full of energy.
And a leather
That's
trench
what
coat.
she said.
Hello,
And
Mr.
puffy
Freud.
hair. That's funny. Also coming out on streaming this week is The Killer, starring Naomi. Man, I'm not great with names. Nathalie Emmanuel, who you remember
That's a tough name.
from Game of Thrones. She played Daenerys' right-hand lady.
Okay.
And also from the Fast and Furious movies. She's starring in The Killer, which is a remake of John Woo's movie that starred Chow Yun-fat.
Early
So
90s.
there will be white doves in there somewhere.
There better be. I would be disappointed if there's not. I haven't seen it. It just came out, so I haven't got a chance to see it yet. But the trailers for it looked really fun.
Is that in theaters or streaming?
Streaming.
Okay.
Streaming on Peacock, I believe.
Okay.
So you can check that out this weekend as well.
A caller called in before you got here and wanted to know if you had seen the movie Hillbilly Elegy.
Hillbilly Elegy.
The J.D. Vance.
Yeah, I did.
It was a while ago.
Yeah.
That's been out for a long time, right?
I remember Amy Adams being really good in it.
Glenn Close was excellent
Glenn
in
Close was in, and I liked the makeup they did in on her because she's supposed to look like not a Hollywood A-lister,
Right.
And they didn't overdo it. But I guess honestly, if I'm talking about Glenn Close's makeup first, that's what
Yeah.
It was fine. It was fine. I mean, I thought it was well shot. There wasn't much to the actual story. I didn't think.
I don't know if I'm not even going to take credit for finding it. I think Heather found it. I found a little gem that I think I liked it more than Heather did because I just loved it and I was bummed that it only had one season. But if you are in the mood for a good laugh, there's a great comedy out there called Colin from Accounts, and it is
Sounds like a British show.
Australian.
Australian. Okay.
Yeah.
And like every good comedy, it starts with a guy running over a dog.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The dog lives. Don't
dog
freak
lives.
out.
I like to start my day.
The dog lives, but it brings these two people together, and
Colin from Accounts.
Colin from Accounts, man, it's funny.
I want to be a fly on the wall for just an afternoon in your home to see how you guys find these shows.
I don't know. How do you find that?
You're
How
an
did you
amazing
find that?
source of these off-the-wall shows that I have never heard of, and they're almost always good, too.
I just searched like news streaming or comedy streaming, or I think I was having a bad day and I said news series. Oh, I know what it was. We finished The Middle. And when you finish a series after watching it for weeks and weeks, like every night we would go to bed and we'd watch an
a couple
episode
episodes
of The Middle.
Right.
And it ended. And we were like, well, what do we do now? So
I hate that
life
feeling, by the way.
obviously
That's
is
the
not
worst
going to
feeling.
go on because
Right.
The Middle is over.
Yeah.
But these comedies, I need a respite in my life once in a while.
Oh, yeah.
And that is, right before I go to bed, watch a comedy and I'm great, ready to go.
Right.
And So I searched comedy series that nobody's talking about.
So you're doing the hard work. You're going through and actually searching through, finding them, and trying them out.
And then I come along and go, yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
I hated it.
I hated it.
And it was okay, but he enjoyed Colin from Accounts much more than I did.
What
Okay.
didn't you enjoy about it? Now that's interesting to me. What did
If it
you?
was
The
Colin
last
from
couple
HR, would you
episodes
like
I
it
did
more?
not like.
Well, what did you think was going to happen?
I don't know. Better things,
Well, come on.
but it's good. It's good. Most
now,
of it is
now I have
very.
to watch it because I got to see what happens in the end and see who
It's
I
very
agree with.
light. It's light. It's kind of light and breezy. It is.
That's a perfect nighttime show.
It is,
Yeah.
and the writing was smart and and clever, and the way things come together in the show.
Yeah.
you know,
I met my first death doula, which is interesting.
Doula.
If you're wondering what a death,
with
well,
the-
yeah, but this is a death doula, John.
So one helps you in, the other one helps you out.
the
that
main
is-
star's mother is one of these holistic everything.
Oh, God,
and
yeah.
and so she has convinced herself that she's a death doula,
Uh-huh.
and she's like, "You don't understand. Death is my constant companion." She's like, "No, it's not, Mom. Nobody wants you around.
Right, go away.
Go
Got that
away."
in common with death then.
Yeah, I think that's on. I think it is on Peacock,
Yeah.
and it's called Colin from Accounts. If
Modern
anybody's
Family has been our nighttime show.
It's great.
Modern Family is a
Fantastic.
great show.
Yeah, just brainless fun.
Yes, right.
I don't know how I feel about my family comparing me to Phil all the time, but
Hey, we're the Hex. I mean, we're the Hex.
I gotta be honest with you.
Every time we see it, we're like, oh my, we're
only-
the Hex.
I gotta watch that now too. Yeah.
The only difference is we've never got a major appliance land in our yard from
a tornado.
But aside from that,
but if we did, we'd use it.
I swear to God,
course.
everything the Hex go through, we're like, and then one night, weirdly,
we're watching
We're
it.
watching it,
and I
and-
said, pause it. Their bedroom is kind of the
the
same,
same color scheme as ours.
our
I'm like,
bedroom.
oh God, we're the Hex.
I said, we're the Hex.
There are worse people to be. You could have been watching The
there are.
Sopranos and figured that out.
Yes, of course, and that's what we said. At least they're good people at
So
heart.
whatever you're in the mood for, you want to get your scare on. There's that.
So
and,
you got the Crow. The Crow is back, and it's kind of until the middle of the
Yeah, it's
road.
slow to start, and then the
Okay.
action gets good, and then Blink Twice, which was just fine. I mean, really,
Okay.
I can't tell you it was bad. I can't tell you it was great.
And
Go
then
see it
Killer-
if you want.
Killer
Yeah,
is-
the Killer on Peacock.
That looks
Okay.
good. I like her too.
Yeah.
She looks like she'd be a really good action star. And then
Yeah.
Colin from Accounts.
Colin from Accounts.
Right.
Colin from Accounts.